Hi, this is Dima Brook from XP.NETWORK, and today we're going to speak about deploying contracts on VeChain. I've noticed that there aren't many tutorials about this topic, and there aren't many GitHub repos devoted to it, so I decided to create my own one. It can be required by the projects that want to bridge NFTs using our bridge and want additional logic on the chain of destination. So let's see how we can do it on VeChain. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to go to XP.NETWORK repository and specifically find deploy VeChain. Here you can copy the link to this repo and for example, let's place it on desktop for now. Let's type git clone and the name of this repository. Well, for our convenience, it will be easier for us to continue in Visual Studio Code. So let's open it like this. For you to see it better, let's open a folder here. Okay. On desktop, we're gonna need this deploy VeChain folder. Okay, there it is. And the first thing we want to do, because it's going to take some time, let's install the dependencies. So to do so, let's run yarn in the terminal. And as our dependencies are being installed, we have some time to set the rest of the repository for us to be able to deploy. Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to create an env file like this. And inside this file, let's create a secret key like so. So the key should be SK for secret key equals, and then you provide the private key of your account. I will hide it from you for now because the secret key is supposed to be secret. Therefore, I'll populate it secretly. And I'll close the file. And we are ready to view everything again. All right, so we have an env file populated with my secret key. And let's go to scripts, to the file called deploy. And here we can change our settings. For example, we can move from testnet to mainnet. Let me show you how we can do that. So for you not to make any errors, you can just provide empty string. I think that the dependencies, okay, here we go. When you provide an empty string, there's a pop-up window that prompts that you can only select between mainnet and testnet. Well, let's stay on testnet in order not to spend real money right now. The repository is completely prepared for mainnet, so all you have to do is just change this line. And let's try and deploy a contract. Here you can specify which contract you want to deploy. The same setting you will see here. So for example, if we want to deploy a simple ERC 7-to-1 contract, we can choose between user NFT minter or, let's say, for example, XP.NFT, like so. Okay, let's call it testing collection 1, for example, for short TC1. We don't need to provide any accounts here, so we can leave it empty like so. And let's say that we don't want any royalties, so we'll put 0 for royalties, and the repository will understand that it will be a contract without royalties. And fortunately, we see that all the dependencies have been installed. So let's actually deploy this very simple contract. The contract is actually here. All the contracts are here. The bridge NFT is a template, which our bridge will check against. It has only 3 functions: mint, burn for, and use URI, base URI, which returns the base URI of the contract. This is a template for ERC 7.1 type of contracts. There's another interface, which is bridge NFT batch. This is used for ERC 1155 contracts. It has two more functions, mint batch and burn batch 4. As you can see, it also inherits from bridge NFT. So it also has all those three functions that we just saw there. And the contracts that we can deploy on the destination chains are right here. So you can go to the contract. It's a very basic contract. And do not change the functions, or at least the function signatures that you see here. But you can change the function code like here, or you can add more functions, extending the functionality of this simple template to your needs. So let's deploy this particular contract. We're not going to change it at the moment. And in order to deploy it, we will have to run this yarn deploy. As you can see, we don't have any other folders except for node modules, by contrast with what we see in GitHub. But as we run this, we will run this function, you will see that two more folders will appear. I'll explain to you later what they mean. One of the folders will be called artifacts. So the artifacts folder will contain all the function signatures of our contracts. And another folder will be for caching those. For example, this is the file that caches all these contracts. These are technical files. You don't need to change anything in those. They're created automatically. And as you can see, after they were created, we also can see that these are the arguments that our contract was deployed with, just for you to be able to save it somewhere for the future to know how exactly you deployed the contract. And here we have two links. So let's click Command if you're on a Mac, and it will open a tab for you to quickly see what you deployed. So this is the contract that we just deployed. And we can also click on the transaction like so. And we see that we just deployed this transaction just several seconds ago. Okay, let's change the setting a little bit. So this was a contract without royalties. Royalties add a little bit of logic to the contract. So let's replace this simple ERC 7.1 contract with, let's say, this one 1155 with royalties. We can leave those fields as they are because they are not used in ERC 1155 contracts. The collection name and collection token identifier are typical for ERC 7.1 contracts only. But what we need here is the address of the royalties. And let's say we want to get 5% of the royalties on the chain of destination. That's basically it. This is all we have to change here. And let's again yarn deploy. And let's see how our arguments will change now. So we see in the terminal that we are deploying XP.NETWORK 1155 with royalties. Right now we're going to see our arguments. And then it's going to take some time, I guess. Okay. Okay. So it was already deployed. Let's also check. Okay, so this is the contract with royalties. You can see its transactions. Here it was deployed. No transfers yet. And we can also see the link to the transaction itself. And we can see that we just deployed it right now. Okay. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to our channel not to miss the new videos. I'm sure that the next week we will also speak about something very interesting and NFT related.